My name is Catherine Erpenbeck, and today I'm going to be presenting to you my ideological stance in the content area, specifically of social studies instruction. I'm going to be presenting in a Pecha Kucha style with images re-emphasizing the information that I'll be sharing with you. I believe that each individual student's story should be utilized to reinforce content learning, specifically to inform their role as a democratic and just citizen and an independent author of change. Making connections between historical content, current events, and the personal experiences of our students is vital to developing an appropriate context and cultivating a thirst for knowledge. So much of what we see in history occurs in cycles, patterns, struggles of power, fear, and violence. They are in the past, yes, but what is today but tomorrow's history? We must use what we know about the world to help us live productive and influential lives. I want my students to look at social science not as something stagnant or irrelevant, separate from their own lives, but something alive, something multidimensional, dynamic, and approachable. I will nurture my students' curiosities and empower them with the tools necessary to challenge the status quo, explore various perspectives, and support their own arguments through evidence. I want to create a safe space for them to look through different lenses and thus connect closer to their fellow man. We must never stop questioning, thinking critically. Everything we read, everything we watch, in every way we absorb new information, we must ask, how are we participating in society? Burke writes, critical pedagogies are specifically concerned with the influences of educational knowledge and of cultural formations generally that perpetuate or legitimate an unjust status quo, fostering a critical capacity of citizens in a way of enabling them to resist such powerful aspects. Learning and success are not reserved for only a select group. Access to new knowledge should be provided for every student, and it is the teacher's duty to provide the bridge to otherwise marginalized groups of students. Scaffolding is dependent upon the constant interaction between the teacher and the students. Just like a coach with their players on the field, a teacher is right there inside the content with their students, modeling inquiry and critical thinking, breaking down academic language, preparing additional resources, pushing the students to question farther and deeper. Walcry writes, a process of setting up the situation to make the child's entry easy and successful, and then gradually pulling back and handing the role to the child as he becomes skilled enough to manage it. The teacher invests their time in order to make the most out of the time with the students, preparing and revising, evaluating every step of the way, because this is what the student deserves. It is in these techniques, these tools implemented, that enable the students to navigate the discipline's discourse, identifying biases, judging with criteria, determining causes and effects. Sociocultural learning occurs when students' prior knowledge and experiences are used to make connections to new material. Literacy is strengthened when students' schema is activated and they are encouraged and empowered to think about how their own supply of knowledge can be used. Learning is social and requires the flow of information, modeling, instruction, and collaboration between students and the teacher and each other. In order to navigate various mediums within proficiency and have the best opportunity for the future, misconceptions or errors must be rectified, which is where the teacher comes in. And this is where the learning happens, within the zone of proximal development. Brown writes about cognitive apprenticeship model, which is basically the gradual release from the sheltered guidance of the teacher to independent practice, allowing the student to take flight and soar to new heights. Sociocultural learning theory is at the root of a student-centered pedagogy, building a classroom environment that makes learning attainable and enriching. Collaboration is key. Conversations, utilizing language, every medium of language. This even translates into culture, sharing culture, moving away from the stand and deliver habits of the past. Social learning environments support constructivist learning theory as well, building comprehension as a community, pooling knowledge for all participants. I am extremely excited about taking the next step towards developing my own ideological stance and watching and learning from my students how best to serve them and how best to reach them and connect that bridge to further their literacy and development. Thank you.